Hey everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. Watches keep getting more expensive at retail. We're here today to discuss and explain the price increases of the most popular brands that happened during the first half of 2025. All the data in this video comes from WatchCharts, the world's leading secondary watch market research platform. Dive into the data yourself at WatchCharts.com. Our last video looked at Rolex sports models that fell below retail over the past year. If you have not watched it, please go check it out. But a huge contributing factor of Rolex watches falling below retail, as we mentioned, was the retail price increases. Even though we usually analyze and comment on global trends, we will focus on the US market for this video. In the US, Rolex prices went up twice in 2025, once in January and again in May. However, Rolex wasn't the only brand who raised its prices so far this year. In fact, all the brands for which we track for value retention have seen price increases during the first half of the year. Here, we list the average price increase of each of those brands. We're not including the Cartier averages because its official US website has been omitting many models that we know have not been discontinued, so we could not update the latest retail prices accurately. Let's first look at Rolex. Here, you see the average price increase for each collection from December 2024 to the present, which actually accounts for two price increases, as we mentioned. In January, Rolex implemented a price increase across its catalog. Overall, gold models went up more than steel and platinum models, and the Daytona collection had larger price increases than the other collections. You can see that collections with proportionally more gold models, such as the Sky Dweller and the Day-Date, were subject to the largest price increases. Overall, we estimate that the brand average was around 5% for the January price increase. And then just 4 months later, in May 2025, Rolex raised the prices again by an estimated average of 3%. Let's take a look at the Pepsi GMT reference 126710 BLRO. The retail price was $10,700 as of December 2024. Still, non-Daytona watches like this one were subject to the lowest January price increases, averaging around just 1%. In January, this reference went up in price only by $100. However, the May price increase saw this reference go up by $300 to $11,100, a 2.8% increase. This represents a 3.7% price increase relative to December 2024. Of course, this model continues to trade at a hefty premium on the secondary market. The models that got the largest price increases in January were gold Daytonas, which went up by an average of 14%. Here you can see the white gold Daytona reference 126509, whose price went up by more than $6,000 in January. Then in May 2025, its price went up again. That means in just a few months, the retail price of this reference went up by around 17%. This pattern indicates that the January price increase had different price hikes for different collections, likely to capitalize on the popularity and desirability of the Daytona collection, and for different metals, likely to account for the rising price of gold. By the way, 2 videos ago, we discussed the dynamics between the price of gold and the prices of gold Rolexes, so please go check it out if you have not watched it. On the other hand, the May price increase was actually fairly consistent across the catalog. This means that Rolex probably felt the need and/or the justification to increase its prices due to the US tariffs, which were announced in April. Moving on to Patek, in May 2025, Patek implemented a price increase by an average of 6.8%. We noticed that the price increases for gold models were actually slightly higher than those for steel models, likely to also account for the rising gold price. Gold watches went up by around 7 to 8%, while steel and platinum watches went up by around 5%. Overall, though, the collection averages are not too far apart. For example, let's look at the steel Aquanaut 5167A, which was the most transacted watch this past quarter by transaction volume. Earlier in the year, this watch cost $24,750. After the price hike on May the 1st, the price is now a very precise $25,958. This represents a 4.9% retail price increase. On the secondary market, however, this model continues to trade at around double retail. As for Audemars Piguet, the brand also did a price increase on May the 1st by an average of 6.6% according to our estimates. Similar to the price increase of Patek in May and the price increase of Rolex in January, the price hikes were higher for gold models than for non-gold models. Gold models were subject to a price increase of around 10%, while steel models were subject to around half that. As each of the 3 collections has a mixture of both, this works out to be an average of 5 to 7% for each collection. Let's look at the very popular Royal Oak reference 15510 ST. The price in early 2025 was $28,600. After the price increase in May, it is now $30,000. That represents a 4.9% increase. As for gold models, let's now look at the Rose Gold Royal Oak Offshore reference 26420 RO. The price was $62,100 before the price increase. It is now $68,500, representing a 10.3% increase. As is the case with most offshore models, this watch trades at a discount on the secondary market, where its price has been trending downwards over the past year and in fact since the market peak in 2022. Vacheron implemented a retail price increase of 6.5% in mid-June 2025, affecting the vast majority of models in its catalog. There is no noticeable difference between gold and non-gold models. All collections went up by 5 to 7%. The very popular overseas 4520V, for example, saw its price go up from $25,000 before the New Year's to $26,800 now. It still trades at a slight premium on the secondary market when now accounting for sales taxes. Omega saw its US retail prices increase in May 2025, which affected the majority of its models. Overall retail prices rose by an average of 4.5%, and it is pretty similar across all collections. In case you're wondering, while you're right that the Aquaterra and the Planet Ocean are technically part of the Seamaster collection, we treat them as separate collections on WatchCharts. Let's look at the only Omega that trades at a premium on the secondary market, the 50th anniversary Silver Snoopy. Its price went up from $10,600 to $11,200 in May. And yes, in case you're wondering about the Caliber 321 at white, the latest price increase has made that model drop below retail. Lange saw its price go up by an average of 4.3% in May 2025, and the extent was pretty similar across all collections. The only Lange that trades at a premium on the secondary market is the Steel Odysseus. Its price went up by $2,000 after the May price increase. IWC is an interesting case. After reducing retail prices for about a third of its catalog in the fourth quarter of 2024, IWC followed up in March 2025 with more retail price changes. Among the 112 watches including our analysis, 27 saw retail price decreases by an average of -4%, while 6 watches saw retail price increases by an average of 4%. On average across the entire catalog, retail prices were lowered by 1% in March. Then in June 2025, the brand raised US retail prices across its entire catalog by an average of 5%. Still, though, this means that IWC has actually had the smallest price increase among the major brands during the first half of the year. Let's look at the Portofino chronograph reference 391027, for example. Before the price adjustments in the first quarter, it retailed for $6,700. Then the price went down to $6,400 in March. Following the June price increase, though, it went back up to $6,800. As for Tudor, being part of the Rolex group, it followed the same price increase patterns as Rolex. In January 2025, its retail prices went up by an average of 4%, with those models that have gold components getting higher price increases. That is why the average is lower for the Black Bay and the Pelagos collections than for the other collections, since the latter include more dressier pieces with gold bezels and/or bracelets. This was followed by another price increase in May, which averaged around 3%. This time, the increase was pretty consistent across the catalog. Let's look at the Black Bay Pepsi GMT, which is available on either a black dial or a white dial. This reference was the most transacted Tudor model during the first half of the year. It was $4,375 before the New Year's. Then in January, it went up to $4,550. In May, it was further raised to $4,675. This model now costs $300 more than Christmas time of 2024. As for Cartier, well, as mentioned, we didn't feel comfortable putting in the brand and collection averages due to their website issues. We can look at 3 watches to get a rough idea of the extent of the price increases that happened on May 14th. Interestingly, you have gold models that went up by more than 10%, such as the Yellow Gold Santos WGSA 0029, but you also have gold models that went up by just 3%, such as the Pink Gold Ballon Bleu WJBB 0033. We guess that this means Cartier likely took other factors into consideration, such as how well each model has been selling. The most transacted Cartier model this past quarter was the Steel Santos Medium WSSA 0029. In early 2025, this watch cost $7,050. Now it costs $7,500, representing a 6.4% price increase. What do you think of these retail price increases? Do you think the brands are raising prices because the tariffs added to their costs, or because they can use the tariffs as a convenient excuse? I personally think it's a combination of both, but please let us know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed the video today, please like, share, and subscribe to make sure you don't miss our future videos. Check out our website, WatchCharts.com, where you can explore pricing for over 27,000 watches, track market trends, and even monitor your collection's value over time. And if you're looking to buy or sell among fellow collectors, head over to our marketplace at marketplace.watchcharts.com. Because of these price increases, many models have dropped below retail over the past year. Our last video looked at Rolex sports models that have become a lot more attractive to buy on the secondary market, so please go check it out if you haven't watched it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.